Hello and good afternoon. Hello from Singapore, Konstantin. Where are you dialing in from?
Hi Tom. I'm in Cyprus, that's where I'm based. Yeah.
Ah, very nice. Very cool. So welcome to our session today on Lido and the future of staking in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm Tom Menner, CTO of SBI Digital Markets, and today we're speaking with Konstantin Lomashuk, who's the co-founder of Lido. Konstantin, let me begin at the very outset. I think probably a lot of our attendees probably have some idea of what staking is, but for the layperson, could you give us a quick rundown of what staking in the Ethereum ecosystem actually means?
I mean, in general, when somebody asks me about staking, I'm usually try with a simple, describing of it, staking is a mechanic, it's a mechanic that help you to achieve security, in our consensus algorithms on blockchains, and how it usually works. That you have some amount of assets. I mean, for example, is in case of Ethereum, you need to lock it for some time, and in this logic, you should make some work, for example, run a validation node, check transactions, and create blocks, in the network. And if you do everything right, you have rewards, so you have rewards from the staking. And if you do any like mistakes, for example, or your node or stop working, or like you do some really bad actions for the network, like slashing, for example, double signing, then it is a slashing, like a penalty activated. And so you lose part of your money. And the system is, in general, in my view, much more efficient than proof of work, and it's create you the same security, and you don't need to like spend a lot of electricity, like in Bitcoin, to support the security of the network.
Hmm.
And in Ethereum, our particular, each validation node need 32 ETH to run that process to create blocks, to be in a line. And anyone can deposit this 32 ETH, lock them for some time, produce blocks in Ethereum network. And and the gist of it, that during that period when you are producing blocks, your liquidity is locked and illiquid, why? Because if you make something wrong, the network need to penalize you, to slash you. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. I think that's actually a really good jumping off point to what is Lido very specifically, and how do they contribute to the Ethereum staking system?
Yeah, Lido, like some people call it in different way. I prefer
Uh,
Lido, but that doesn't matter. Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
in general, I started in blockchain long time ago in 2014. I will not tell you all the story because it will take 30 minutes, but and we don't have so much right now. But in general, like gist of it, that in 2018, I started like company called P2P.org. P2P.org is a staking company, one of the biggest in the world right now. And why I started it? Because I already like earn some money like during my way on investment. I invested in Ethereum, ICO, and many others, and I really understood that if nobody will run these validation nodes, all where I invested and where I contributed will be like centralized sensors, and in general not make sense. Why? Because it will be just databases, like why do you need a cryptocurrency and that like security if it's censored and they're like managed by like some small amount of participants. And I started P2P.org as a self-funded company. I didn't raise money, until the 2022, and start to run these nodes, to understand better and keep blockchain decentralized. And in 2020, my co-founder Vasily joined, P2P.org. We catch up and figure out that if we, in 2020, it was a big event. Ethereum started like in general proof of stake network. Like in general, they finalized the research and was ready to launch their to move from proof of work to proof of stake. It was the first phase when they launched Beacon Chain. We came to all our competitors, and our competitors, our friends, like why? Because I mean, this when you have the same values and if you compete, you still collaborate a lot. And ask them, are they going to run validation nodes for Ethereum? And all of them said no. Why? Because to run validation node for Ethereum, you need to have ETH, like Ethereum. And that's why we figure out that if no professional validators will run, it was not a lot of solo stakers, that all this market will be captured by centralized actors like Coinbase and Kraken. I don't say that they are bad, like, I mean, they're great companies leading by great leaders, but what it brings us, even like, because I mean they're corporations, they should be efficient, and in general they need to stake all balance sheet, like that. In general, not only balance sheet but also all the is that are I mean stay or that user deposit to like to their like accounts. Why? Because they should be effective, like, and to be effective is provide the best service. And we really understood for the exchanges, LTV will be much higher, so lifetime value than for validators. Why? Because when they acquire the user, when they like bring this they earn not only on staking, they earn on exchange, they earn on custody, they earn on a lot of different services. And for validation, it was impossible to compete with like exchanges. And all of that bring more centralization to Ethereum. And for me as an Ethereum holder from day one, I really like, and I really believe in DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations, like that's where I figure out that we need to fight. We need to fight for decentralization of Ethereum, like, and we with Vasily came to all these validators, like, and said, let's build something together. Let's build a middleware that will connect the people who has capital and people who want to run validation nodes together based on smart contracts that it can operate as a decentralized autonomous organization, so can eliminate the risk much lower, like, and built on top of Ethereum. And in general, Lido built one of the first, or not, I mean, it was application, but really like I mean, the applications that were natively fully built on Ethereum that give you, using this middleware, I mean, eliminate a lot of risk by smart contracts. And also part of this solution was that when you staked your ETH with like big amount of validators, before it was 40, now it's I think 70 and going to 100, like, so it's growing a lot. And then you can also get like staked Ethereum token. So I mean, you put on like to the work your ETH, and you get a ticket that you can burn the staked ETH and get your ETH back. Like, and in general, like Lido introduced liquid staking, and this is a middleware that connect, I mean, people who has capital and people who want to run staking, like, and introduce liquid staking that gives their your stake position to be liquid.
And so you actually, as part of that liquid staking, actually have a liquid staking token, correct? Are there
Yeah.
particular benefits to that token, and how well is it adopted so far?
Yeah, I now like I mean, people who use like Lido as a middleware, I mean, they staked more than $30 billion in ETH, like, so it's very adopted, like, and about 28% of validators node run through this middleware. In general, it is a staking router that distributes the stake to different models, and these models has different validator sets. For example, Lido already implement DVT technology, distributed validator technology, like, and it's even like one validation node can run by many validators that can make it even more secure. And yeah, it's and I mean, and the main like mission of Lido DAO, like of this middleware, like, is to keep Ethereum be decentralized and censorship resistant. So what Lido is doing by bringing, like people to use stake this, and by distribution stake is keep the main value of Ethereum, be secure, decentralized, and censorship resistant.
So overall, I mean, where does this put you guys in the overall staking landscape? I mean, what does the competition look like? How do you see this evolving over time?
I think, like first of all, uh, I mean, for P2P.org is one of the biggest validator, and it's, I mean, like running this piece of infrastructure, and it's high competition. We see more and more professional validators, community validators, solo validators, and it's great. Why? Because more entities, or like people or community, can provide better and secure service to run this. In general, like Ethereum, I look at a public good. In general, it's virtual machine, like for communication and value layer. And I mean, in case of Lido built this middleware, and now, like it is a new market created called restaking, like and EigenLayer like is a good example of it, like I was also like one of the like early investors in EigenLayer. I should disclosure here. Now we have a lot of EF folks who are looks like advisors and EigenLayer, but I mean, like EigenLayer, like in general, it said, okay, it's like on capital markets, let's use that uh, already staked assets if the risk is not so high, but it's still a risk. Let's leverage it, like with different other AWS systems, and and in general, from one side, we don't have this AWS yet, like it's, I mean, restaking bring a lot of farms, like points and so on. But I mean, crypto markets, it's like a betting market in some way. It's not good, maybe, but sometimes it's good. It's betting on new narratives, like in general, about like 15 billions of assets, but that restaking will be huge. And like in case of restaking, I think what is important that you can build new like mechanics that help you to run different other like clusters or like products or solutions using the same stake. But it should be only like ETH. It can be any assets. It can be USDT, it can be Shiba, it can be like any other assets, can be like used to, or that it is on Ethereum, can be restaked and or staked, like through this infrastructure. And for now, like what is landscape that I mean, Lido is focused on to be LST. It's not going to be restaking inside. Why? Because the users, like that stake the assets, they use a middleware to get only one risk, that is a slashing of Ethereum. And if like Lido will try to like change it, like in general, it should be, I don't know, like a big window for withdrawals for all these users, because they should really recognize that their logic is changing inside. And they're also like, I think we should figure out that in reality, in real efficient world, like, and I really believe that, I mean, what blockchain give us, of course, it give us to build a more efficient way. I call it cybernetic economy, like, so we're building some cybernetic economy and some like mechanisms that help us to be efficient. And in efficient world, you have rewards, or like, I mean, only when you produce some value. Yes. So for example, when you produce value for Ethereum, you keep it decentralized, and now like the network pay you 3%, like to get more rewards on the work, you need to produce the same amount of value, like, and on current way, AWSs are not produce any value, like maybe one day they will produce some value. And the question is, if they produce value, like for example, they produce rewards to your stake, they can introduce the risk for you, because nobody ready to pay for nothing, like, and not in any efficient system. So it means that if it will be LRTs, it's called liquid restaked tokens, who produce not only staking on Ethereum, but staking on additional service. Eventually, maybe not now, I mean, because now, I mean, all these things are run on multi-sigs, like, and then they don't introduce, they try to, it's also a risk, like, but they try to like say that it's no slashing, but if it's no slashing, I don't know like where is the value come from, because value come from the risk that you that you outsource to this or staked is, for example, or any staked other assets. And that's why I think that, the landscape is so different, and Lido is focused to be mission driven, focus on a one main mission, the centralization of Ethereum. Second, not introduce any additional risk to the capital, and in general be the lowest risk as possible, and the highest rewards on staking. And all other products can be built on top of it. For example, why do you need to restake plainest when you can restake stakeless? Because stakeless has already helped you to achieve this decentralization in Ethereum, and why you can build it on top. And that is a big question, but we see that some EF, Ethereum Foundation researchers, they are facilitating the growth of restaking, and they try to or maybe they're also facilitation of the also change of MVI, minimal viable year, and issuance, and the question is is it the right approach? We don't know. And we need to challenge these approaches. And I think that what is Lido now, and it doesn't have a lot of competition and LST, is focused on one particular question, to help Ethereum be the most decentralized and secure and censorship resistant network. And I think it's super great, if Lido even fail with this mission, and somebody will build better product, we still will keep Ethereum decentralized and censorship that is much more important, yeah.
I think you might have indirectly answered my next question, but just to throw it out there. So it sounds like you don't necessarily think that restaking will be a significant seismic shift in the staking landscape in Ethereum, and or from Lido's perspective, you're just going to remain focused on what you do and what you do best, in particular with the liquid staking token, and not necessarily, let's say, follow a restaking trend. Is that a correct description?
Well, first of all, I should mention that it's two proposals on Lido forum. One is from Hasu called Regoose, and that covers this question really well. That Lido can try and stake this. In general, it's proposal. It's not voted yet. I think it's voting yet, and depend how LDO token holders will decide on this proposal. The Lido will move in this direction, because Lido is pure DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. And in general, all the code is updated by smart contracts by voting of LDO token holders. And what we can do, any of us, is propose something, to change it, And what Hasu proposed in Regoose, this is a framework how we, for example, it is what is Goose, it's a year goal setting, in general, every year, Lido settle some goals and objectives, what contributors to the DAOs should achieve. And if something happened during the year, but it's not good, why? Because you need to spend time on, for example, replanning, that's called Regoose, so, we need to create new goals during their a short period of time. And in the Regoose, it was two biggest challenges for Lido DAO. One is MVI, because some of their pro Ethereum Foundation people, researchers who are super great, but they're proposing to cut issuance and target some particular number, 1.5, for example, just in rate. And for me, it's ridiculous, I can't understand it, for example, why? Because Coinbase has 15% of ETH on their balance, assets or holding assets. It's from public data open. You can check it. And eventually, as their it doesn't matter, regulation can change, but eventually they will give an option to all this is to be staked, like, and they will try to get. And if, for example, 50% will be staked only on is, like the idea that it should be staked only 25, and after, for example, it's zero emission or zero uh, like rewards, like then, like it will centralize and kill the market of the centralized market of Ethereum. And I think we should fight, like I think it's some wrong assumptions, like, yeah. And the second, and I think that what Hasu said that, okay, guys, we need to, first of all, build Lido research and, like react and make more research, because if we will have only one research entity that can be biased or it can be has some type of wrong opinion because of their wrong research, then it will be bad. And we need to facilitate more research. Another story is restaking, like restaking is growing. And in general, it's changed the market, like why? Because a lot of users want to get more risk, like, and in general, they don't, I mean, for example, Aave now, they have the same risk for LRTs than for LRT. But I mean, I don't agree with it, like, I think you can only get more rewards if you got more risk, like, and it's definitely bad pricing that bring later like a lot of bad side effects, like collapses and so on. And I mean, and what Lido said on the proposal that we need to create some type of alliance, like that will facilitate the growth of more research, more like understanding of LRT, restaking. And I mean, in general, if these restaking protocols will use take this as an asset, like it will make but all of this market more secure, because what's happening now when people restake directly, the composition of validators is only like starting to be worse, not better. Like why? Because Lido choose validator and created more decentralized. It's contributing to decentralization by distributing stake to more entities. It's distributing to decentralization by moving from one client to many clients, because like it was an issue in the Ethereum community that only gas clients were used, like, and it introduced significant risk for all the network. And Lido did a great job, like to diversify that risk, like, and yeah, in case of risk taking, so the idea is in the proposal that you stake this as LST and not risk. And why? Because Lido is middleware and lets people use permissionless restaking protocols. Why permissionless? Because our industry should eliminate the risk, not make it bigger. If it's 20 multi-sigs between of them, somebody will break one day, like, and facilitate the protocols that will build permissionless and in general create maybe like restaking ecosystem, but fair and open and run by open market, not by some like closed negotiation and incentives, like behind the sun. That's in general will create much worse market, and it can be people can have good in mind, but they can really create a lot of issues. Why? Because they think that the market is not efficient and that it's not making right decision, and their decisions that maybe not right can really like disrupt the market later.
So I think that's a good lead in for what might, from a time perspective, be the last question. That is, really like to hear about what you envision to be Lido's roadmap going forward, both in terms of, say, increasing your own user base and maybe just expansion of staking services in general.
Yeah, I think it's also like, I mean, Hasu make Goose, I think already like almost 1 year ago. So this is a proposal for 3 year strategy. It's all public, like it can be read it online, the forum. It's voted and Goose connected with that. And it's three main stories there. One is take this adoption, to grow adoption of stake this. In general, if stake this is the most secure like liquid staking token, it will be adopted. Why? Because people I mean, want to use that product, and in general, it's contribute to Ethereum decentralization. The second topic is validator set, because validators is the people who do the job, like, and they, how to say, run this infrastructure, they take this risk, they, I mean, in general, building the companies, and they're important part of ecosystem, like, and we should care about them. And also it is a lot of infrastructure providers like SSV and OBOL who create DVT and invest in creating this infrastructure to make it more secure. And that's why, like, to make decentralized validation set, and that's in general permissionless long term, like, and eliminates the risk. It's also part of main Lido objective where Lido should go. And the third one is governance. Why? Because this middleware is governed by smart, like by LDO token holders, by governance token. And it's still a risk, like, and we need to say about that openly. I mean, that this LDO token holders then can make, like, an attack, like this middleware. And to eliminate it, I mean, it is a proposal called dual governance that in general will create a story where staked ETH user can block or some upgrade of LDO middleware. And so what I think is important for Lido is double down on security and decentralization, because what is Ethereum is a public good, whereas new cybernetic economy one day will exist and create a lot of value for each person in the world, like, and that's what I believe, and that's where I'm ready to spend my days and hours, like, and weeks and months and years of work on it, like, to keep this, well, Ethereum, like, decentralized and secure for each person on the planet.
Brilliant. Um, Actually, just out of sheer curiosity, in probably the last minute we have remaining, can you give me a high-level overview of cyber.fund? I'm curious
Yeah,
to
I
hear
don't
about
like Cyberfund. I created like in 2014. We did the first research about or I joined it, and so like, and we created a first report about blockchain assets, and it's called cybernetic economy. So we had this vision that it's new economic. In general, cybernetic economy, we can call it a meme, like, so it's but what does it mean? That it is new economy is coming that is more efficient, like, people are living now the best than ever. And why? Because economies start to earn, they're eating more, they're more healthy, and eventually with new technologies like AI, blockchains, and other, I mean, this economy will be not planned, but will be more efficient, like, with each day. And in general, like, I relaunched the cyber fund in 2023 to invest our personal funds to keep this, like, cybernetic economy really healthy for humanity and accelerated, like. And for example, how we did it, we invested in Ethereum. Why? Because we believe that this technology is needed for everyone, like. And then we participated in building Lido to keep that, like, decentralized and secure. Why? Because in generally, some like technologies, like, for example, what's going on now with AI and AGI, can you be used in a bad way too? And if you will, like, invest and participate and do our best to, from one side, accelerate that's happened faster, and the second, that it's happened on more decentralized way where the governance is open, where is technology regulated, and that's how, for example, Lido DAO work. Then, I mean, we will participate in the creation in a better world for everyone. And that's what about cyber fund. It's just allocating capital in such companies, is giving grants to facilitate the growth and, like, happening of cybernetic economy sooner and healthy for people.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a great note to end on. So, Konstantin Lomashuk, I would like to thank you very much for joining us today and giving us the opportunity to learn about Lido and the Ethereum staking ecosystem. Again, I'm Tom Menner, CTO of SBI Digital Markets here in Singapore, and I would like to thank everyone for joining us.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye bye.